Hi guys, this is Kathy. I hope you're doing well. You beat me to my own stream. Are you kidding? It's my day off, so you can't make me put makeup on. You're lucky I have a shirt on. Oh, Nan. Yes, go lurk. You have a busy Christmas to take care of. So we're gonna finish on OJ today. I'm really digging this. I didn't think I would dig this as much as it is. Here's what I thought. I thought, shit, if I play the OJ trial, it's gonna be like 90% boring and then 10% good. And it's 500 videos long of boring with 10% good. But no, I'm enjoying this. I'm really glad that we're doing this. You wish you were working? Actually? What? I'm going to get started because I don't want long talking because people who binge, they don't like long segments. So I'm going to get started. I'm positive this is where we stopped. I'm positive. So here we go.
What?
It was apparent to me that these blood droplets were not directly associated with the victims and that they were perhaps in association with the bloody shoe prints leading from the scene. It was also apparent that they would be connected to a suspect in this instance.
And so what were your instructions to the criminalist with respect to these blood drops that you've identified in people's 19 and 20?
To photograph, preserve, and collect these as evidence.
And with respect to all of the items that you have previously identified in the photographs we have marked during the course of your testimony, were those all items that you requested be collected by the criminalist and photographed in place as they were found?
Yes.
And are they depicted in the photographs as you found them, sir?
Yes.
Now, did you attend the autopsies in this case
Yes.
and observe them of both Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman?
Yes.
Showing you the exhibits previously marked as Peoples 3 and Peoples 2, can you tell me whether these are the people whose autopsies you were present with respect to this case, sir?
Yes, People's 2, I believe it is Mr. Goldman. People's 3 is, in fact, Miss Nicole Brown.
In your presence, sir, were blood samples taken from each of those people?
Yes.
And did you retrieve those vials of blood that were given to you, that were made by the coroner during the course of the autopsy?
Actually, my partner, Detective Van Atta, retrieved them on the following day. I believe it was June 15th.
Sir, are you familiar with the term DR number?
Yes.
What is that?
DR is letters for what in LAPD we term a DR, or Division of Records number. This is a number that is assigned to a particular crime, to a particular victim. The first 2 digits would indicate the year. Something occurring this year would be preceded by the numbers 9-4. The second 2 digits would indicate the geographical division involved. In this case, geographically, West Los Angeles division is 8, so it would be 08. And the 5 subsequent numbers are the individual report numbers.
And is there a DR number assigned to this case, sir?
There are 2 DR numbers, one for each victim.
Do you know what they are?
94081741 and 32.
The 31 number, is that the main number?
Yes, it's what we call a key number. It would be the first number obtained that all subsequent reports would be keyed off.
And the 32 number exists to designate a second victim?
Yes.
We gonna find out. We're going to find out.
Is all of the evidence collected in this case assigned that DR number?
Yes.
And which one would it be assigned, the 3-1 or the 3-2 number?
The first one, the 3-1 number, yeah.
So if it bears that number, that indicates it was the evidence recovered in this case.
Yes.
Yes. I have nothing further.
Mr. Shapiro?
Good morning, Detective Lang.
We were talking about her perm in last stream, and I know someone, I think she has naturally straight hair, and that is a perm. I think they confirmed that in an interview last stream, but I don't really remember.
Is this case still in the process of an ongoing investigation?
Yes.
I think Marsha looks absolutely fantastic. People are saying she looks tired and thin and blah, blah. I think she looks amazing.
And have you, from the onset until the present time, been getting leads on possible other suspects?
Yes.
And are you investigating those leads?
Personally, I am not at this particular point. They are being gathered, categorized, and we're assigning them out as quickly as we can.
Who is in charge of investigating other leads?
At this point, it's Detective Payne.
And how many people are under his direction investigating these other leads?
The number varies. Again, we're trying to prioritize the amount of information we're getting. He probably will have anywhere from 6 to 10 or perhaps more people, depending on the amount of information coming in.
Do you know what stages these leads are in terms of development?
Very, very early, I would say.
According to all the information you have received, was the first call relative to this investigation a call that there was a burglary suspect at 874 South Bundy Drive?
It seems to me there was a call to that effect, a prowler or something like that. I don't recall exactly.
Do you have any records of the first call that was received that resulted in this investigation?
I believe we might have. I haven't checked that. I don't know for sure.
And the officers who took that call, are they required to record that type of call?
The officers who responded to
No, who
this,
received the call that there was a burglary suspect?
well, I'm sure they'd record it, yes. There's a daily field activities report that most units fill out that they'd have it on.
The exact time of the radio call and the type of the call are required by LAPD policy to be recorded, are they not?
It certainly should be, yes.
Do you have any information as to how that call regarding a burglar suspect at Bundy was broadcasted?
No, I don't. Again, I'm not familiar with the particular details of that radio call. It's just my knowledge that I believe there was a previous call to that location.
Do you have any information that this call was broadcast on June 13th, 1994 at approximately 0010 hours?
Do I have information?
Yes.
There's very possibly information in the book.
And do you have would this radio call be a high priority call?
It would depend. If a suspect were at the location at that time, it would be a high priority call. If the suspect had left, Not necessarily, unless the suspect's still in the area. Again, I don't know what the details were in that call.
Was the location of this call 874 South Bunday, directly across the street from the homicide scene?
I don't recall the address.
Do you have any records of that?
I believe there are some records.
And
It
did any-
seems to me it was right in the vicinity, though, yes.
If it was 874 South Bunday Drive, would that be directly across the street from the
Yes,
homicide
yes,
scene?
it would.
Did you or anyone under your staff, anyone in your staff, locate the person who initiated this phone call?
I did not, and I'm not aware of anyone else who did, other than the responding officers, perhaps.
Did you or anyone under your direction interview anybody at 874 South Bunday?
I honestly can't give you an answer. We've done in excess of 100.
Hi, Maria. Just so you remember, this is the preliminary hearings. So we have July 7th, which we're at, and then we have July 8th of the preliminary hearings, and then we go into the trial. Hi, Bryden.
100 interviews, and we've had perhaps a dozen investigators doing this. We have information coming in all the time. I really don't know.
Does a radio call of this nature cause to generate an incident report?
It would probably depend on whether or not a crime has occurred. If it were just a prowler call, perhaps it would just be a mention in their activities report. If the crime had occurred, then of course they'd be required to take a crime report.
What if it said burglary suspect there now at 874 South Bunday Drive? Would that type of radio call generate an incident report?
Not necessarily.
Do you know if an incident report was generated?
No, I don't.
If such a report was generated, would that be included in the murder book?
I would hope we would eventually get that.
Have you seen such a report in the murder book?
I don't recall seeing a report to that effect.
Was there any report that the burglary suspect that was there was a Caucasian?
Again, Mr. Shapiro, I'm not familiar with the details of that report.
Are the first officers at the scene required to protect the crime scene and cordon off the vulnerable areas?
Yes.
Are the officers required to determine if an ambulance crew or any other person moved the body or any items within the crime scene?
It would be helpful, but they're not necessarily required to do that.
Are the officers required to record the names, addresses, and date of births and telephone numbers of all persons at the crime scene?
That's preferable, again, yes.
If an ambulance crew is present, are the officers required to record their names, serial numbers, and obtain a rescue report?
They should do that, yes, on a crime scene log. That's correct.
Was such a crew there?
I don't believe so.
Would you check your chronological
Yes.
record, please?
If you give me a moment, there are several logs, several incidents here.
Maybe I can help you with that. Why don't you look at...
I believe I have it, thank you.
OOCA.
Yes, I have it, thank you.
Does that indicate whether any emergency crews were there? other than
I'm
police?
checking, it's quite lengthy. If I wasn't there to observe, but if I may have a moment. There is an indication of a Los Angeles Fire Department captain at the scene. It states there he was not needed. This does not necessarily mean that this was a paramedic, but a representative.
I had a job once as a telemarketer. I was a telemarketer, but not just a telemarketer. They gave me my life insurance license. I had to go through all the classes. The tests were ridiculous to sell life insurance. Anyway, so I would call people with life insurance, and like we would call all over the country for hours on end, and like it was a lot of paper back then. We never licked our hands. We had those little finger, the finger rubbers with the little pricks on them for her pleasure. Anyway, and then we had this goo that you touched your finger in, and then you could just flick through the papers real quick with this goo, this pink goo that you put on your hand. It works way better than licking your fingers for paper, dude. I'm just saying.
From the LA Fire Department.
Have you ever talked to that person?
No.
Has anybody, to your knowledge, talked to that person?
To my knowledge, no. I don't know.
Has anybody recorded the names of any other personnel that might have been there with the fire department?
Well, I'm still checking if I can have a moment.
Pardon?
Can I have a moment? I'm still checking.
Oh, yes, take your time. I'm sorry. Let me know when you've had a
Okay.
chance.
He has a big book to look through. Yes, those things. Yes.
No, the only representative I see from the fire department is that captain.
Do you know what type of vehicle he arrived in?
No.
Did anyone check to see whether he inspected the bodies?
That's not indicated. All it says is not needed, so.
My question was, did anyone check to see if he went to the bodies at the crime scene?
I don't know.
Did anyone check to see if he disturbed anything at the crime scene?
I have no knowledge of that.
Did anyone check to see if he came with a crew?
If he would have come with a crew, their names should have been logged, and all I see is his name, so I'm assuming he was the only one there.
Whose responsibility is it to see that no one enters the crime scene?
The officers who would have been assigned to secure the crime scene.
And who were they?
Again, referring to my log, we have officers Cummings and Sanchez, McAllen and Wally, Ziegler, and it appears to be Mauricio. The primary unit, Risky and Terrazas, would probably have had something to do with that. Also assisting officers Gonzalez and Ashton.
Have you read any reports that any of these officers generated regarding their observations when they arrived at the scene?
That's irrelevant.
Sustained.
Have you talked to any of those officers?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
Have I heard, Your Honor?
Yes.
I think one of the key issues in this case is whether or not the crime scene was disturbed. And this is foundational for
We got finger pads for the heavy flow.
asking those questions.
All right.
If counsel has concerns in that regard, you could certainly subpoena the first officer on the scene who could explain what he did to secure it and how he kept people out of the scene or perhaps failed to do so. But asking this detective, who appeared on the scene some 4 hours after the first officer appeared, is ineffective. There's no way that this officer could possibly know what transpired before he arrived. And asking him what was done and who came in and who did not would all call for hearsay and speculation.
Well, I think here, since we're back now to the preliminary hearing, if the appropriate foundation had been established with regard to the number of years that this detective has with the department, which I believe that was part of your early testimony, hearsay would probably be admissible, assuming that he's not acting as a mere reader officer and that that information was imparted to him by some other person. So the objection is overruled, subject to the appropriate foundation.
Thank you, Ross.
Did you read any of the reports that were generated by any of these officers?
Yes.
Have you talked to any of these officers?
No.
Do you know if any, did you ask any of them if they did anything at the crime scene upon arrival?
Personally, I did not. It was done by someone else.
Who was that done by?
Detective Phillips.
And did he report that anything was done at the crime scene by any of these officers?
Well, it's pretty vague. If you'd like, I could tell you what the reports indicated.
Yes, would you?
The reports, each officer was interviewed separately as to what they did at the location, where they stood, where they stepped, whether or not they were injured. And there are reports as to each officer. Each officer's shoe prints were photographed, and they each gave a statement as to exactly what they did at the scene.
Is there any policy regarding how persons can enter a cordoned-off crime scene?
Is there any policy?
Yes.
Well, again, policy is a guideline. No two crime scenes are alike. Therefore, we have policy, but again, policy is merely a guideline. It can't dictate to you how to handle any particular crime scene.
Is the policy generally that no crime scene shall be entered except in the accompaniment of an officer?
Guys, is it just me? Or does this look like a tearaway? I'm gonna tear. Is he still practicing? Can we still hire him?
We could interpret it as generally being that way, but again, it's merely a guideline.
And to caution anybody who does regarding contamination or alteration of evidence.
Certainly.
Was that done in this case?
Again, I was not present. I would certainly hope it was.
Now, did you and your partner, Detective Van Adder, arrive together or in different vehicles at the Bundy crime scene?
Separately.
Who arrived first?
Donald, that's
Detective Van
horrible.
Adder.
And you arrived how much later?
Yes.
How much later did you arrive, do you know?
Oh, I believe it was approximately 20 or 25 minutes.
And did you observe the crime scene to be secure when you entered?
It was secure in my mind, yes.
Were tapes, ropes, barricades placed in proper positions?
There was yellow police tape that was up, and there were uniformed officers, I believe, stationed at the front and the rear of the location.
In your opinion, was it properly barricaded?
That's so sad, though.
If you
So
refer
sad.
to yellow tape as barricades, yes, there were no actual barricades.
I'm asking in your expertise as the senior member of the special unit, whether or not that crime scene was properly cordoned off at the time you arrived.
In my mind, it appeared to be, yes.
Upon arriving, did you cause to record the weather conditions and the temperature at the crime scene?
Initially, I did not.
Is there any importance to doing that?
There may be, there may or may not be.
And what would the importance be?
The importance certainly may be perhaps one factor of many in determining the time of death.
Is the time of death an important criteria to establish in a homicide investigation?
I would say in most instances, yes,
In this case, would it be?
certainly.
And is it true in your experience that the earlier you begin the investigation process, regarding trying to establish the time of death, the more likely you are to establish the time of death.
Not necessarily.
But you would not agree with that.
Well, again, it's a general statement. There would be instances certainly where that would be true, and there would be instances where it wouldn't be necessarily be true,
In this case, would it have been true?
perhaps.
And you, as the senior detective there, were in charge of alerting criminalists, the coroner, and any other support unit you would need to conduct a proper investigation. Is that correct?
Well, in conjunction with my partner, yes.
And what time did you notify the coroner's investigative
Jen, I feel that. I understand what you're saying.
unit to come out to help ascertain the time of death?
I had requested another detective on the scene to make what we call a first call to the coroner's office to alert them what
Thank God. Thank you. Thank you, Donald. I was so sad.
we had. Subsequent to that, another call is made telling them that we're ready for them. I don't recall who made the call.
Is there any record of that? Is that in your chronological log?
That may well be with the coroner's log.
Is it in your chronological log?
I don't believe I have it in my chronological log.
Is that something that you should have in your log?
Not necessarily.
What time did the coroner's investigators arrive at the crime scene?
Would you like me to refer to the homicide log?
If you don't know,
I have no personal recollection.
do you have a general idea how many hours it was after the initial
It seems to me it was probably approximately 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10, 10:15, somewhere in there. But it's only a guess.
Would you feel more comfortable in reviewing your notes?
It doesn't matter to me if you'd like me to. Do you want a specific time?
If you're comfortable with that answer, fine. If you're
Well,
not,
no, again, I ask you if you would like a specific time. If you would, I can look at the log for you. I don't recall a specific time.
we would like to get the answer that closely resembles exactly what occurred. So if your notes would help you in that, we would appreciate
Well,
it.
it's in the log.
Please check that then.
The personnel log at the scene indicates that coroner's
Incorrect. I want to commit some crimes and I need a lawyer.
Representative Ratcliffe arrived at 9:10 a.m. and coroner's representative Jacobo arrived at 9:20 a.m.
Are you familiar with the term rigor mortis?
Yes.
And is that a factor that's used to determine the time of death?
It can be, yes.
And in a case involving a homicide like this one, would it be important to try to establish the time of rigor mortis as close to the time of the actual death? Or establishing later the time of death?
The time of rigor mortis, I don't understand. Rigor mortis is an ongoing thing.
Because it said, is it that determination a time determination? In other words, is that a determination that if made earlier is more helpful? Or it doesn't matter when it's made?
Objection. Vague, ambiguous, calls for a conclusion from a non-expert witness of an expert.
Sustained, there's no foundation that
Vague, ambiguous. She's doing great. I don't care what anybody says. Marsha's doing great.
this detective knows the answer to that.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you know the answer to those things?
I'm sorry.
Objection, Your Honor. But that was the whole point. No foundation was laid.
I think that you'd have to sort of lay the foundation before you ask the general conclusion. Doesn't know the
Are
answer.
you an expert in homicide investigations?
I guess that's open to interpretation.
Have you qualified as an expert in
I have.
homicide investigations?
I have.
On how many occasions?
I've been court qualified on at least one occasion in Superior and Federal Court.
Do Do you consider yourself an expert in homicide investigations?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do others consider you an expert in homicide investigations in your department?
Call for speculation irrelevant. Objection.
Overruled.
All right, you would have to ask them.
Can we call Detective Van Adder, please? We'll proceed. You guys are very modest, I must say.
Move it along. Let's go.
Are you familiar with such terms as lividity, temperature change, digestion in the stomach, and eye fluids as they relate to time of death?
Yes.
Gross.
Are any of those things important criteria in establishing time of death?
They can be.
Are all of those important criteria in establishing the time of death?
They certainly can be.
Now, you called for a criminalist to come to the scene, is that correct?
I personally did not, but
At your direction?
Yes.
At your direction. I know you don't dial the phone for all these things, but you're kind of like the coach or the quarterback. And you tell other people what to do?
sometimes.
Did you in this case?
Yes.
And that was your job?
Yes.
And you told somebody for a criminalist to come out?
Yes.
In the first place you directed the criminalist to come was to Rockingham, isn't that correct?
I don't recall exactly how that happened. I know that he was directed to Rockingham first, though.
And did you consider Rockingham to be a homicide scene at the time he was directed there?
No.
Did you consider Bundy to be a homicide scene?
Yes.
Of the two, which did you consider to be more important in terms of priority to get a criminalist there?
More important to get a criminalist would be Rockingham.
And that was before you and the other officers made your emergency entry into that location, wasn't it?
I believe the request for a criminalist to test the apparent blood stain on the vehicle was before.
Was before.
I believe it was. I'm a little unclear because I left the Rockingham location shortly thereafter to return to the Bundy location.
Do you have any records to indicate the time that the criminalist arrived at Rockingham?
I was not present when he arrived at Rockingham.
Well, my question is, do you have any records to indicate the time the criminalist
I may
arrived?
have in my possession, like I said, there are many logs here.
Well, that's something that you are required to record, isn't it? What time a criminalist initially arrives at a crime scene?
Well, I would hope somebody would, certainly.
Would you check and see who did that and what time the criminalist arrived?
I don't know, and I don't have that information, if a separate log was kept after I left the location. I'll have to go through quite a bit of material here.
Now, you've got your lieutenant here, and you've got two deputy district attorneys. Maybe you could take a moment, and the four
I
of you
think,
might be able to find this.
Mr. Shapiro, we'll take the morning recess at this time, and
That
that
might
should
be a good time to
facilitate.
find it. Yes, thank you, Judge.
We're again on the record in the case of People versus Simpson. The defendant is present with counsel. The people are represented. Mr. Shapiro.
Yes, I believe there was a question pending. Do you recall the question, Detective?
So may I have it repeated, please?
Yes. Do
Tip your servers. Tip them. They work for $2 an hour.
you have records to reflect in your chronological log what time the criminalists first arrived at the Rockingham scene?
I don't know.
Did you check with Lieutenant and Deputy District Attorneys and anyone else you had?
I checked with my partner who was at the that particular scene, and he indicates there was no log made, that was not a crime scene at that time.
Bonjour. I love you.
In fact, would you like me to explain that a little bit?
I think you've answered the question.
Okay.
Thank you. Did you file any reports, supplemental reports, or follow-up reports as to what time the criminalist arrived at the Rockingham location, up until including today?
I didn't. That would be filed by the criminalist himself. He would have his own information, his own log.
And have you seen such a report?
I haven't seen it, no.
Do you know if one exists at all?
I am assuming a criminalist report does exist, yes.
That wouldn't be something that you would want to maintain in your murder book, though, now.
Once I get it, yes. We haven't received many things, and that's one.
Isn't the criminalist one of the closest people you work with in a homicide investigation?
Objection
Again,
vague. What does closest mean?
One of the most important, I'll rephrase that, and I think counsel's correct.
Well,
Would you say a criminalist is one of the most important members of your investigative team in a homicide case?
That would depend certainly as to evidence in the crime scene. Subsequent to that, not necessarily, but certainly I'd say as to collection of evidence.
In this case, would you say that he would be one of the most important members of your investigative team?
As to the collection of serological evidence, yes.
And is that a very important aspect of this case, in your opinion?
Yes.
Is it maybe the most important aspect of your case?
Evidence-wise, I would say there's a good possibility of that, yes.
And as of today, you still have not received any reports from him. Is that your testimony?
No, I've received reports from him, but the reporting procedure is ongoing. The investigation is ongoing. I get reports from various entities on a daily basis, sometimes as many as 50 or 100 pages of various things.
When you and your partner and the two West LA homicide detectives left Bundy to go to Rockingham, who did you leave in charge of Bundy?
Lieutenant Rogers.
Did you instruct him, even though he's your supervisor, as to what to do?
Basically, what to do was to secure the scene until I arrived, until I
Until you
returned.
came back?
I'm sorry?
Until you came back?
Yes.
And that meant not to let anybody in or out and maintain the perimeter?
Not necessarily.
What did that mean when you told him, when you gave him instructions that you were leaving?
To secure the location and that we'd be returning.
What did that mean? What were you conveying to Lieutenant Rogers to do?
That I was leaving for a short time and that I would soon be returning.
And what was he to do at your direction?
Remain at the crime scene.
And do what? Sit there, go to sleep, investigate?
Make sure that no one disturbed the crime scene, basically.
So he was now in charge of no one entering that crime scene area?
No, not necessarily.
Was he in charge of continuing the investigation at Bundy?
He was in charge of anything that might have come up while he was there until I arrived back.
Would you say that your investigation had been completed at the Bundy scene at the time you left for Rockingham?
Well, certainly not. It hadn't started.
And did you instruct him to do anything regarding the crime scene investigation as your supervisor when you left to go to Rockingham?
The instructions were that it was mutually understood that he would remain there until I returned. There were no specific instructions to do this or to do that.
Does the murder book or chronological record indicate whether Lieutenant Rogers conducted a crime scene investigation in your absence?
I don't believe you would find that in there.
Did you ask him if he did?
No.
Is that something you'd want to know?
If Lieutenant Rogers conducted the crime scene investigation?
In your absence, yes.
No, it was a mutual understanding that in fact was my duty and that I would do that once I returned, perhaps with his assistance.
What time did you return to begin your crime scene investigation at the Bundy location?
It was approximately 6:45 a.m.
So that's now 6 hours and 45 minutes after the report, the last report of the deaths. Is that correct?
Roughly.
Is there any benefit in starting a crime scene investigation as soon as possible?
There certainly could be.
Could there be in this case?
Well, that would be open to speculation, and certainly down the road we may know more about this case and we'd find out at that time. At this point, it's kind of up in the air.
Based on what you know now, would it have been your preference to conduct a crime scene investigation at Bundy as soon as possible?
Not necessarily.
That's irrelevant and it's vague.
Sustained.
When you went to Rockingham, did you direct any officers to do a door-to-door search of the surrounding neighbors?
Objection, vague. Search.
Are you talking about the surrounding neighbors at Bundy or surrounding to
At Bundy,
Rockingham?
at Bundy,
At Bundy?
yes.
And by search, just what do you...
Let me clarify that was a very poorly phrased question, Your Honor. Did you direct any officers to door knock surrounding residents to ascertain if anybody saw anything at Bundy?
I don't recall doing that, no.
Do you have any notes to reflect you did that?
No.
Would you say that it would be appropriate to start at 874 South Bundy where a suspicious person was reported to begin looking for potential witnesses?
Not necessarily.
Have you reviewed up until today any communication tapes to see if there were any prowler or burglar calls in the immediate area prior to June 13th, 1994 at 00110 hours?
No.
During your investigation, have you determined if in the last few years there have been any similar homicides reported in Los Angeles?
Objection, vague.
As to similar?
Similar to what? In what way?
Similar to, let me rephrase that.
All right.
Similar to the homicide you're investigating in this case.
Same objection with respect.
Do you mean a double murder of an adult male and female?
Yes, similar circumstances that a male and female were murdered under the same or similar circumstances. That's one of the things you do in your investigation, isn't it? To see if there are patterns of homicides?
No objection, it's still vague. At what circumstances?
Hi,
Males and
Walter.
females are unfortunately murdered every day. In what respect is the counsel inquiring as to the similarity?
Did you look to see if you had any similar sort of crime reports to the incident that there was on Bundy?
No, Your Honor.
Are you familiar with something called the Homicide Manual of the Los Angeles Police Department?
Yes.
And I take it you read that and you follow that?
I have read it. It hasn't been updated in a number of years, but I am familiar with it.
So you think the manual's out of date?
Well, it certainly could be. It's not a hard and fast text on how to conduct a homicide investigation.
Do you agree with this statement in the Homicide Manual that the preliminary investigation at the scene is the most important and possibly the most sensitive aspect of the homicide investigation.
Jen, thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm a little ambivalent about that. Yes and no. It certainly is important. It's not necessarily the most important thing that exists.
Would you agree with this statement in the manual that good note-keeping is the foundation of a good homicide investigator?
That's a basic that is certainly preferable, yes.
Do you agree with this statement in the manual? That accurate, comprehensive, and chronological notes not only coordinate the investigation, but allow the detective to present the possible case in court, sometimes years later.
Once again, as a guideline,
Walter, you might not want to count, because it might get up to 450 some.
under perfect circumstances, that's certainly something that you would want, yes.
Were field interview cards completed on all possible witnesses?
We have over 100 witnesses. No, I don't believe so.
All 22 of you, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. And I know there's 100 on replay crew. Thank you. You guys are so special to me. Thank you so much.
Were neighbors interviewed in the direct proximity of the crime scene who did not hear anything unusual between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock?
I haven't had a chance to review all of the neighbor statements, so I am not sure whether or not a recordation was made of that.
Tina, I love
Were any
you.
crime scene broadcasts initiated?
Again, I haven't reviewed the communications tape, an earlier question, so I don't know.
Did you order that there be no smoking or eating permitted within the crime scene area?
I did not.
They did not.
Have you obtained
don't
a
worry.
detailed report of what all the officers at the crime scene reported and the actions they took immediately upon arrival at the crime scene?
Yes.
Have you ascertained how many officers have gained entry into the crime scene prior to your arrival?
Yes, that should be contained within their statements.
Have you asked the officers to recreate their movements?
Yes. I have not personally, it was done by Detective Phillips.
So that's all recorded as
At my
of today.
direction, yes.
Did you ascertain if any officers smoked at the crime scene?
That too would be contained in their statements.
Did you ascertain if any of the officers or any media personnel drank any coffee at the crime scenes?
Well, objection, that's vague. And
When you say crime scenes, do you mean now both Rockingham and...
Well, there's 3 crime scenes. There's Chicago. Would you agree there are 3 crime scenes in this investigation?
I would agree that there are 2 and perhaps a third, which I would term a potential crime scene.
Let's talk about the 2 that you would determine as crime scenes. Do you have any knowledge of anybody drinking coffee within the areas of the crime scene after they were cordoned off?
At the scene, directly at the scene, no, I don't. I am not aware of anyone who was drinking coffee.
As the officer in charge, would you say that both crime scenes were protected from destruction or contamination of evidence by onlookers as well as news media personnel?
Okay, number one, I was primarily in charge of and directed the investigation at the Bundy scene. I was not at the Rockingham scene, but for a short time. I was satisfied that the Bundy scene was in fact secured, yes.
Who was in charge of the Rockingham scene?
Detective Van Adder.
Would you agree or disagree that standing or walking at the crime scene, leaning against doors, walls, or windows may destroy valuable evidence?
Absolutely.
Latent fingerprints, hair, or
Yes.
skin specimens?
That possibility.
Irrelevant.
Sustained.
Yo, Marcia, Judge, it's not irrelevant and it should not have been sustained. Come on. Probably, yes, absolutely.
Please have a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Let's pick the speed up or we're never going to get through this. Let's go.
Did you determine,
Again, I haven't reviewed the communications tape. It was an earlier question, so I don't know.
did you order that there be no smoking or eating permitted within the crime scene area?
I did not.
Have you,
Okay, but in his defense, as a server, I know that I'm not supposed to smoke, eat, or drink in the whole restaurant area. So those cops probably knew it too. Did anyone fart? I don't know. I crop dusted a couple people tonight, but I hated them.
obtained a detailed report of what all the officers at the crime scene reported and the actions they took immediately upon arrival at the crime scene?
Yes.
Have you ascertained how many officers have gained entry into the crime scene prior to your arrival?
Yes, that should be contained within their statements.
Have you asked the officers to recreate their movements?
Yes. I have not personally, it was done by Detective Phillips.
No, that's all recorded as
At my
of today.
direction, yes.
Did you ascertain if any officers smoked at the crime scene?
That too would be contained in their statements.
Did you ascertain if any of the officers or any media personnel drank any coffee at the crime scenes?
Well, objection, that's vague. And
When you say crime scenes, do you mean now both Rockingham and...
Well, there's 3 crime scenes. There's Chicago. Would you agree there are 3 crime scenes in this investigation?
I would agree that there are 2 and perhaps a third, which I would term a potential crime scene.
Let's talk about the 2 that you would determine as crime scenes. Do you have any knowledge of anybody drinking coffee within the areas of the crime scene after they were cordoned off?
At the scene, directly at the scene, no, I don't. I am not aware of anyone who was drinking coffee.
As the officer in charge, would you say that both crime scenes were protected from destruction or contamination of evidence by onlookers as well as news media personnel?
Okay, number one, I was primarily in charge of and directed the investigation at the Bundy scene. I was not at the Rockingham scene, but for a short time. I was satisfied that the Bundy scene was in fact secured, yes.
Who was in charge of the Rockingham scene?
Detective Van Hatter.
Would you agree or disagree that standing or walking at the crime scene, leaning against all doors, walls, or windows may destroy valuable evidence, latent fingerprints, hair, or skin specimens?
That possibility.
irrelevant.
Sustained.
Please have a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Did you determine if any police officer checked the shoes of the witnesses who discovered the bodies?
It was
Did anybody check the shoes of the witnesses that discovered the bodies?
related to me that I believe that was done around the time that the dog's paws were observed, but I did not direct that, nor do I have any personal knowledge of that.
Are there any reports to indicate that was done?
There may well be. Within the officers section, I haven't had a time to review those.
Is there somebody you could check with now to see if there are such notes?
Well, again, all of the notes and statements aren't in. I suppose I could check the officers section. I am not aware whether that would be in there or not, though.
How many footprints other that would relate to shoes in blood did you observe at Bundy?
I don't have the number.
Has anybody calculated the number?
That was assigned to the criminalists. Again, as the footprints moved away in a westerly direction, they faded. So I don't know that you'd get an accurate number, but they were charted. by the
1
criminalists.
They
billion.
were?
I'm sorry?
They were or weren't charted?
Charted.
They were charted?
Well, by charted, I'm referring to photographed and measured, and I requested a so-called stride analysis.
Have you received that yet?
No. Again, I may have it in my reports. I have hundreds, and I haven't been through them all.
Would you check, because we have not received that yet either?
There's a good chance that we haven't either.
Well, I'd ask that we conduct this discovery procedure off the record.
Mr. Shapiro, you're entitled to that, but let's have the witness check on that.
Thank you. I'm not going to ask him to do that now.
Okay.
Were you able to determine whether the blood imprints from a shoe were all from the same shoe?
Objection, that calls for speculation, no foundation.
Are you able to give an answer to that question?
No, Your Honor.
Has anybody reported to you that there were more than one type of shoe print with blood on it at the scene?
No.
Have you talked to the criminalist about this?
In regards to these shoe prints, no.
Is that something that you would deem important?
Objection vague. What, something that you would deem important?
Speaking to the criminalist about the shoes?
Yes.
What about the shoes, though? That they existed, that they were the same shoe, that it was the same tread, that they existed at all, where they were found?
Well, I interpret that question to relate to whether there was more than one maker of the shoe prints.
That was my understanding, Your Honor.
With that understanding, can you answer that?
Yes, and that it's my belief that the shoe prints probably belong to a suspect or were left by a suspect, and we would certainly like to find out what type of shoe they are.
I'm sorry, your voice is trailing, and I can't hear the end of the answer.
You'd like to find out what?
Could you repeat the question again? Here, I want to give you an accurate answer.
Have you discussed with the criminalist whether or not the blood prints from the shoes indicate one pair of shoes or more than one pair of shoes?
In a general discussion at the time, at the crime scene location, it was the opinion of the criminalist that it appeared that there were one. To my knowledge, these prints have not been analyzed and the work has not been completed. So I have made no other requests at this time and had no other conversations regarding it.
Do you have a report indicating how many spots of blood were found at the Bundy residence that you referred to as drops that did not belong to Nicole Brown or Ronald Goldman?
I may have that report, yes.
Do you know offhand how many that was?
It seems to me it was initially 5 droplets on the walkway.
And have you or anybody at your direction ascertained when those droplets originated?
When?
Yes, how long they have been there?
I don't believe there's any way to determine that.
I don't have any further questions at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Clark, do you have any redirect?
Yes, thank you. Sir, do you have other detectives assisting you on this case besides Detective Van Adder?
Yes,
And is it fairly common in the homicide special section to have other detectives in the unit assist in the investigation of one team of detectives?
yes,
And are you aware at this time of every piece of work or report that each of those detectives has generated?
no,
Would you say that this investigation is an ongoing one with reports being generated every day?
yes,
As time goes by, do you expect to catch up with the reports that have been generated in this case
I hope so,
and to read everything that you have
yes,
and to confer with all of the experts in the case?
yes,
With respect to the criminalist, sir, at this time, the shoe prints have been preserved with respect to the blood and the swabbing and the photographing. Is that correct?
yes.
Has there been any attempt to analyze those shoe prints any further at this point by that criminalist?
I don't believe so.
Is it your intention to have that done?
Yes,
Are there many things that you intend to have done in this case before it proceeds to trial?
yes,
No, Fuzzy, you were here the whole time, don't you remember?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the form of the question and assume it's a fact that the court is going to hopefully determine.
Sustained.
Motion is stricken.
Stricken.
All I meant, I'm sorry, and all I meant by that was, as the case goes on, there are going to be many things to do, assuming the case goes on.
Your Honor, we have a man who's in custody without bail, and I think that's a very proper question and is very prejudicial.
Overruled.
Let me ask you this, sir.
The best
In the
part.
course of every case that you have handled, and you indicated you've handled 200 to 300 homicides,
yes,
is the investigation always ongoing?
yes.
And that
Apparently, I think I made a typo. I'm not sure though. I don't know, but I think I might have made a typo.
at the stage of a preliminary hearing for every one of those homicides, is the investigation an ongoing thing,
Yes,
with many things left to do at the stage of the preliminary hearing?
yes,
And this case is no exception.
that's correct.
Is it unusual to get leads from multiple suspects during the course of an investigation, sir?
No,
In fact, during the course of an entire case?
no,
And if you don't personally go out to investigate those leads, you
Me
do assign
too.
those leads to be investigated by someone.
yes,
You were asked by counsel why you didn't look for other similar homicides,
I believe it was something like that, yes.
and you indicated you did not.
Yes.
Why?
Well, again, we're in the very early stages of this investigation. At this particular point, this would not be an appropriate time to do it. There is a suspect in custody, and we are proceeding against that particular suspect. Eventually, this is probably something that very possibly could be done, or it may not be done.
And when we say similar homicides,
guess.
did you understand that to mean like a serial killing?
I didn't know exactly what he was referring to.
Sir, is it common in an investigation, particularly with respect to a homicide, to have neighbors in the immediate vicinity contacted by police officers to determine what, if anything, they saw or heard?
Yes,
Was that done in this case?
yes,
And Although, did you direct that it be done?
Yes.
Now, you indicated that in the log, captain of the fire department did show up on the scene, and it was indicated in your log that he was not needed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Does it indicate in your log how long he was at the scene?
If I could consult the log.
Certainly.
The log indicates he was at the scene for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yes.
In your experience, sir, is it common for captains of the fire department to interact with the bodies of homicide victims?
It would depend, possibly, perhaps not.
The fact that he was shown to be there only 5 minutes with an indication that he was not needed, what did that mean to you?
Objection, Counsel.
Overruled.
To me, it would mean that he was aware that the incident had occurred, and he was dropping by as the supervisor to see if the fire department's assistance might be needed for anything.
Did it indicate to you that he had had any interaction with the bodies of the victims?
No.
It indicated to you that it did not? Did that indicate to you that he did not have any interaction with the bodies of the victims?
Objection, Counsel.
Sustained.
Okay. In your experience, sir, is it generally the paramedics who have interaction with the bodies?
Yes.
And when that occurs before you arrive at a crime scene, in your experience, sir, when you come on the scene after they have attended to the bodies, is there some way that you can tell they have been there before you?
Yes, I will leave the ambulance slip.
An ambulance slip?
Ambulance slip indicating that they'd been there in the unit and the time of death and this type of thing.
Is there something about the condition of the bodies of the victims that tells you that paramedics have been there to attend to them before you arrived?
Sometimes, if the paramedics have been there, the body position will be altered.
Have you ever seen the electrocardiogram, the pads that they use for reviving someone, that they place on them to revive the heart?
Yes.
And did
I'm just saying that's a little rude. We can drink it first, right?
you see that in this case?
No.
But that is frequently left on the bodies of victims when paramedics have attended to them before you arrived?
Yes.
Was there anything about the bodies as you saw them in this case that indicated to you that they had been disturbed by anyone in any way?
No.
Do you happen to know when the coroner's investigator arrived?
I have that notated here in my log, if I may. Investigator Ratcliffe arrived at 9:10 a.m.
Where were you at that time, sir?
I was at the Bundy location.
So you saw the coroner's investigator arrive?
Yes.
Isn't it policy,
For the record, Bud Light is a staple. Yum.
sir, that no one is to touch the body of a victim before the coroner's investigator arrives?
That's correct.
And you were present when that coroner's investigator got there?
Yes.
Rock'em sock'em robots. Yeah.
You
Nope.
indicated, I think,
No,
that
John.
you did not direct anyone to not smoke or drink at the crime scene at 875 South Bundy.
Yes.
Why didn't you?
It's generally a given that an officer has been trained and knows better than to smoke or eat at a crime scene. If someone had been observed doing that, we'd have jumped on them right away. That is not tolerated at a crime scene, and that's general knowledge.
So when there's tape around the scene that has been secured with the police tape as a barrier, whatever's inside that scene, no one is allowed to go in there and do anything like smoke or drink or eat.
That's correct.
And if something like that were to occur, it would be very unusual,
Yes,
and a report would be made?
certainly.
Was there any such report made in this case?
Not to my knowledge.
Was there any indication made to you that the crime scene at 875 South Bundy was disturbed in that manner behind the yellow tape in any way?
Yo, not me.
No.
You indicated that it was more important to get a criminalist to Rockingham Avenue than to the Bundy address at one point during your testimony on cross-examination. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Why?
The Bundy location was a secured location. The victims, the evidence were secure. Nothing was going anywhere. At the Rockingham location, it was an unsecured location. There was a vehicle that was parked at that location with a possible blood stain on it that we wanted analyzed. It was parked partially blocking the street. Again, it was unsecured, and we needed that possible blood stain to be analyzed first. It just made sense because we'd have the other location secured. So we wanted the Rockingham thing out of the way, and that criminalist then was to proceed on to Bundy.
Yes, I do.
Well, you indicated earlier that the Rockingham address was not a crime scene, and
It was
that no
not
crime
one.
scene log was generated for it because it was not a crime scene. Can you explain that?
When I was at the location, it was not a crime scene. The criminalist, when I was there, well, the criminalist that was requested was there to only test the blood on the Bronco vehicle. I left before the criminalist arrived.
In the 200 to 300 homicides that you've investigated, sir, has it ever occurred before that you have left a crime scene before it was completed in the processing?
Seems to me there have been instances, yes.
And that when you left the crime scene in previous cases, before the processing was complete, you intended to return?
Yes.
Was that your intention when you left 875 South Bundy for the Rockingham address?
Yes.
Did you expect to be back fairly quickly?
Yes.
So when you left Lieutenant Rogers at the 875 South Bundy address, and I believe you indicated earlier you did not intend for him to process the crime scene for you,
Dogs like beer.
you left him there thinking that you were going to be back in a few minutes.
Yes, short time.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Shapiro?
Detective, to your knowledge, does the Los Angeles Police Department employ more than one criminalist?
Yes.
And
Gross.
if you wanted two criminalists at two different scenes, would that be available to you?
I don't know.
Did you try?
Did I try?
Yes.
No.
What the hell is leftover coffee? What does that mean?
You were present at the autopsy.
Yes.
You've talked to the coroner who conducted it.
Yes.
You were present and directed the crime scene photographs to be taken.
Yes.
You were present and directed the criminalist in his activities.
Yes.
And you later caused to be purchased a stiletto knife from Ross Cutlery. Is that correct?
No.
Did anyone from your department purchase a stiletto knife from Ross Cutlery?
Yes.
Actually, no. I drink anything that has alcohol.
You're aware of that knife?
Oh, yes.
You've seen it?
Yes.
You've shared that with the criminalist?
I'm sorry, shared it?
Have you showed it to the criminalist?
I don't know if it was shown to a criminalist or not.
Did you show it to the coroner?
No.
Is it your opinion that this knife, or one substantially similar to it, was the murder weapon?
Be pure conjecture with the knowledge that I have in regards to that knife.
In that case, it calls for speculation. Objection.
Sustained.
Nothing further.
Ms. Clark, anything else?
One question, Your Honor. Sir, is it preferable to use one criminalist in a case to process all of the scenes related to one case?
Yes.
And why is that?
To maintain a certain order and custody of evidence, to have one person with knowledge of more than one scene someone who is up on everything that's going on with both scenes. It's important for chain of custody of evidence. It's important to be on the same page with the criminalists, and it would be very difficult to employ more than one criminalist, and this was absolutely necessary.
And if you have one criminalist who processes all scenes, he's going to know what's important at each scene because he's seen them all. And he may pick up things that you haven't.
Oh, yes.
I'm nothing further.
Anything further?
This witness may be excused.
Thank you very much, sir. You may step down. Do not
Thank you.
discuss your testimony with anyone but the lawyers in the matter. Next witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor, the people call Detective Van Adder. Recall.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I would offer to stipulate that Detective Van Adder's testimony during motion to suppress to be incorporated and be made part of the record for the court.
Is that agreeable, Ms. Clark?
Yes, it is. Thank you,
All
counsel.
right. Do we still need then to hear from Detective Van
We
Adder?
do for just a few matters, actually.
I think I've said this before. You've previously been sworn and remain under oath. Please have a seat in the witness stand.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
State and spell your name.
Cameraman, thank you so much for the close-up of the hand. I really appreciate it.
Philip Van Adder, Philip Vannatter.
Thank you. Where?
Sir, did you attend the autopsies of the victims in this matter, Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson?
Yes, I did.
And in the course of that autopsy, sir, did you observe the coroner to recover blood from each of the victims' blood samples?
Yes,
Did you recover those vials from the coroner's lab and return them somewhere?
This is still the preliminary hearings.
yes, I did.
Those vials of blood samples that you recovered from each of the victims, how were they packaged when you recovered them?
They were packaged in small glass vials with a purple top.
Did they bear some number or description?
Yes, they did.
Can you tell us what that was?
Certainly, they had the victims' names and the coroner case number that corresponds to their names on the vial.
Showing you people's two and three, sir, can you tell me whether the people depicted in these photographs are the ones whose autopsies you attended?
Yes, they are. Yes.
And they are
Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson.
in people's two and three respectively, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm sorry, sir, you described the packaging. Did that bear a number?
Yes, it did.
What number was that?
The coroner's case number for Mr. Goldman was 945135, and the number for Nicole Brown Simpson was 945136.
And that was on the packages?
That was on a label on the glass vial itself.
And what did you do with those vials?
I hand carried those to Scientific Investigation Division, Los Angeles Police Department, and handed them over to a employee there, Colin Yamauchi.
What does he do at the police department, sir?
He's an employee of the Scientific Investigation Division that works in the serology department.
And on what date did you deliver those to him?
That would have been the morning after the autopsy, would have been June the 15th.
Now, you've earlier testified concerning a glove that was seen at the south side of the property at 360 Rockingham.
Yes,
to show you a photograph. I'd like to be marked People's 21, Your Honor,
All right.
and ask you if this depicts that glove that you saw at the south side of the property in the position in which you saw it.
Yes, it does.
No, obviously it's the second one. Obviously.
Now, you indicated that yesterday, sir, at approximately 7:30, you left the Rockingham address to secure a search warrant.
That's correct.
What time did you return to the Rockingham address?
Shortly after.
Hold on, OJ. I got the greatest shirt for my family this year. I don't know if I told you before. I have the greatest shirt for my family this year. It says, "Drunk driving doesn't run in my family, it drives."
After 11:30 in the morning.
And when you returned, did you see anyone outside the gates of the Rockingham address?
Yes.
Who did you see?
I saw Mr. Howard Weitzman and Mr. Taft, Mr. Skip Taft.
And where were they, if you recall? What gate?
They were standing at the Rockingham gate along the north side of the gate.
And where were you when you saw them?
I had just parked my car and was walking into the gate, walking toward the residence.
Did you make
For the
contact with
record,
them?
I have
I
zero
spoke to Mr.
DUIs.
Weitzman, yes, because I
Zero.
recognized him, and he spoke to me.
After you spoke to Mr. Weitzman, what happened next?
I continued into the residence with the search warrant, was there a short time, and I had left instructions with officers if Mr. Simpson arrived at the location to keep him from coming into the residence. And shortly after that period, while I was inside, I looked down and I saw Mr. Simpson at the location.
Did you make contact with him, sir?
Yes.
When you made contact with him, did you notice anything unusual about either of his hands?
Not at first. When I first made contact with him, he had handcuffs on.
What-
Shortly after making contact with him, I removed the handcuffs, and I noticed a bandage on his left hand, the left middle
don't.
finger,
I
in
don't
the
DUI
upper joint
ever.
area.
Now, at some point, did you and the defendant proceed downtown?
Yes,
Now, when I said Mr. Simpson, then I said the defendant. Do you see Mr. Simpson in court today?
yes, I do.
Can you please point him out?
Certainly, he's wearing the dark blue suit, seated at the end of the council table there.
Indicating the defendant.
And you transported him downtown?
That's correct, yes.
Did anyone else accompany you downtown?
Yes, another detective from Robbery Homicide Division.
And did anyone else meet you downtown at the same time?
Yes,
Who was that?
Mr. Weitzman and Mr. Taft.
Once downtown, did you make some effort to document the condition of his left middle finger?
I did.
What did you do?
I took him to the photography lab of the police department and had it photographed.
Did you cause a blood sample to be taken from Mr. Simpson?
I did.
And did you get his consent to do so?
Yes.
Were you present when that blood was taken?
Yes, I was.
Then was the vial given to you after it was taken?
Yes.
What did you do with that vial?
I kept that vial in my possession and hand-carried it to criminalist Dennis Fong and turned it over to him to be booked with the evidence.
And that vial was, did you do it on the same day that the blood was taken from the defendant
Yes, the 13th.
of June?
That's correct.
Yeah, would you rather? All right.
No, guys, be happy. Can we be more happy for Christmas, please, please, please? Drunken Smurf and Monica gave $60 to a Salvation Army tree angel. That person's going to be really, really happy tomorrow.
I have your photograph, Your Honor, and so if you marked people 22.
All right.
Photographs that they printed out at CVS, I bet. Oh, Christmas is tomorrow. $60 is over. It already went.
Can we approach?
Damn it, be jolly.
I have checked with the lawyers and investigators from my office,
And of course, he objects.
and we do not believe that we have received a copy of this photograph. I could take a moment and check with the criminalist, but I believe, but my recollection.
He's a
is we
good
have
lawyer.
Not seen this photograph, and the date on this photograph is June 21st of '91.
91.
I should make cookies today. I really should. Oh, I'm just too tired to.
Of '94, I'm sorry. I can't see with or without my glasses.
May I indicate what's on the photograph, Your Honor?
Yeah, there are two gloves and a ruler.
2 gloves, each of them bearing an item number that has already been related to this case. What it does is depict the glove recovered from the crime scene and the glove recovered from the house side by side. I would be delighted to provide counsel with a copy of that photograph if he feels that he...
Hold on, Marcia. Look what I got. Look what I got for my my one table tonight. They got me chocolate chip cookies, a whole bunch of candy canes, and a whole bunch of little chocolates. Yeah, I love Christmas. There were four cookies, but I ate one. To donate this to the cause of my choice. Oh, I need to think about that. I'll post when I donate it. I need to think about what the cost. I mean, it's most likely going to be for the animal shelter. Hi, Sophie girl. Hi, baby.
did not have one. I thought we had given him copies of all photographs. This is not a crime scene photograph at all. It's a lab photograph.
So this is a photo that was taken at the crime lab itself?
Yes.
Do you have a series of such photos from the crime lab?
I don't. As far as I know, that's the only one. But I don't know. I thought counsel had all photographs, Your Honor.
Thank you, Fozzie.
So I'll certainly have it duplicated for him. Not a problem. It doesn't constitute any evidence that he has not already seen. It simply puts the two items together in one picture.
Well, then perhaps we could use another item of evidence that we have already seen for the purposes of this examination at this time and give us an opportunity to examine this photograph.
Well, I'll give you a chance to examine that photograph. Do you have other evidence that you can present with regard to this at this point?
Well, I don't know how long it takes counsel to look at a picture of two gloves, but I'd be glad to wait until he's satisfied himself that he can match the item numbers of the gloves with the item numbers on his property report and the appearance of those gloves with the appearance of the gloves in the photographs he's already got.
I would say it would take me time to get expert witnesses from New York
in other parts of the United States to review this. I obviously am capable of looking at it and see it has 2 gloves. If that is the only purpose of this photograph, I think Detective Van Adder can identify hundreds of pictures of gloves that we have. It is just ironic that there is one picture that we don't have that they want to use for some reason.
It's one photograph that we have that shows the 2 gloves in one place side by side. That's all, Your Honor. I don't understand counsel's objection. I don't see why it takes an expert to look at a picture of 2 gloves.
Mr. Shapiro, I'm not going to preclude Ms. Clark from utilizing this photo. I take her word for the fact that it is a photo of apparently the gloves that we've heard testimony concerning in this preliminary hearing. You are entitled to a copy of it. They've indicated that they would provide one to you. When can that be provided, do you know?
Right now.
You have an extra copy? Okay, you have a smaller version of what he's holding in his hand?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Let's hand that over to defense counsel.
Are there any other photographs that we haven't received?
Your Honor,
I don't know.
I've just been handed a series of photographs that all are crime lab photographs of the gloves. I believe counsel does have them, but I'll be glad to give him these again and have another set made for myself.
We have inventory each item of evidence that has been received, and we have not received it.
That presentation was made to me yesterday, and then other counsel for the defense indicated they did indeed have what they said they didn't have, so I would ask for Mr. Shapiro to examine the items he's been given to date again.
Is that something you can do in a short period of time?
Yeah.
Look at your photographs.
Well, how do we know when he has back at his office, Your Honor? I'm turning over all of these photographs that were taken at the crime lab. These are my only set, and ordinarily we order 2 sets, which would indicate to me that counsel has his. But in abundance of caution, I'm going to turn them over again, and I'll get another set for myself.
Last time we got these, we got a bill of $4,000 for.
No. Nope. I'm sorry, you're wrong. This is my best friend. This is my whole heart. This is my doggie. This is my Sophie girl. You don't see her because she pretty much stays at my feet. But today she said that I've been streaming too long. So, she's done with me streaming. This is my baby. My doggie.
May I proceed?
Yes, let's proceed.
They're showing you what's now marked as People's 22. Do you recognize what I'm showing you?
Yes, I do.
Now, do you see beneath each of these gloves that there's an item number?
I do.
What's an item number?
That's a item number of a piece of evidence that's been recovered and booked as evidence with our
Sophie.
crime lab.
It's my Sophie girl.
And are you familiar with the property report that lists the item numbers for the evidence that was recovered in this case, sir?
Yes, I am.
Were each of the gloves recovered, the one at the 875 South Bundy address and the one at the 360 Rockingham address, given separate item numbers?
Yes, they were.
Do you recognize the item numbers shown in People's 22?
I do.
Can you tell us, sir, whether those are the item numbers that go to each of those respective addresses for each glove?
Yes, item number 9 is a glove that was recovered at 360 Rockingham, and item 37 is a glove that was recovered at 875 South Bundy.
Now, do items also receive a second number, a photograph number?
They normally get what's called a C number that's issued by the photography department, and then the crime report, DR number is affixed also.
For example, in the exhibit next to you, which is People's 19 in B, C, actually all of them. You see these numbers?
Yes,
Are those are photo numbers, sir?
yes,
As opposed to item numbers?
yes.
No, no, absolutely not. Listen, I can't imagine this case being reopened. No, I don't want to live through that. I don't want to see it. No, absolutely not.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to these series of photographs being shown. They're the rear side.
Yes, will be heard in chambers. In chambers. There's not a realistic sidebar here in this courtroom with as many lawyers as we have.
Well, I'll take the exhibit back.
Pardon me?
Shall I take the exhibit back?
Sure. Exhibit back, reporter, please, and the attorneys.
Just saying, out of all the mods, Fozzie's probably the most tame when it comes to dirty minds.
Right, we're again on the record in case of People versus Simpson. The defendant is present with counsel. The people are represented. The detective's on the witness stand. Ms. Clark?
Is the objection was overruled, Your Honor?
That's correct.
Thank you. Ask that the series of photographs be marked as People's 23.
All right.
In April.
So showing you People's 23. Can you tell us if you recognize what's being shown here?
Dirty minds? You are the most tame out of all the mods.
Yes, I recognize it.
First of all, tell us what's in photograph A.
Photograph A is a picture of Mr. Simpson's left hand, middle finger at the upper knuckle that was taken at my direction in the photo lab.
Does it accurately depict the condition of that knuckle as you saw it when you had the picture taken at Parker Center?
Yes,
Was there only one cut on that finger, sir?
there was a smaller laceration down toward the first knuckle that doesn't show
Yes, in April. In April, OJ died.
up there very well. It was a small laceration that run in across the finger and down.
Now, the gloves that are shown in B and C of People's 23,
Yes,
do you recognize those, sir?
yes.
And what are those?
Those are the two gloves that were found at 875 South Bundy and 360 North Rockingham.
Now, the glove in photograph B contains item number 9. You can see that?
Yes, I can see that.
And as you earlier testified, that was the glove that was recovered from the Rockingham address.
That's correct, yes.
In photograph C, we have number 102 shown as to that glove.
Okay.
Does that reflect a photo number or an item number?
That reflects a photo number.
And are the photo numbers and item numbers correlated?
Yes, they are in the property report.
So that photo number 102 would correlate to item number 37?
That's correct, yes.
Describe the position of the glove as it's shown in photograph B. Is that palm up or is that the back of the hand up?
That's the palm of the glove that's facing up.
And in photograph C, can you tell?
May I step down where I can? Thank you. That's the back portion of the glove that's facing up.
And in photograph 22, are these both palm up or are they palm down?
These are both palm up, showing the palm of the glove.
Did you observe the backs of the gloves, sir? The back of the hand of each glove?
At what point?
At any point. Have you ever observed them?
I saw the gloves in their original location, and I was also present when the gloves were shown to the defense at Scientific Investigation Division. So during this period, yes, I have seen the back of them.
Can you tell us if they're plain on the back or there's any kind of design on the back of the hand?
There appears to be a rib design on the back of the glove, leading toward the back portion or wrist portion of the glove.
You were gesturing with lines.
Straight lines.
Thank you, sir. Nothing further.
Cross.
Detective Van Adder, when you caused to have Mr. Simpson's index finger photographed, did you ask for a criminalist to examine it?
No, I did not.
Did you ask for a medical examiner to examine it?
As it was being photographed?
Yes.
No, sir.
Did you ask for a doctor to examine it?
No, sir.
Did you ask for a nurse to examine it?
At a later date, I did, yes, or at a later time, I asked for a nurse to examine it.
I'm not saying the photograph, I'm saying the finger.
The finger, yes.
So you asked the nurse to examine it
I asked a nurse after the photograph was taken.
after the photograph.
Yeah.
Did you ask a doctor, a criminalist, or a medical examiner?
No, sir, I didn't.
Did you ask anyone if they could determine how recent the cut was?
No, sir.
Did you ask anyone if they could determine the severity of the cut?
No, sir.
Did you ask anyone if they could determine the cause of the cut?
No, sir.
Did you ask anyone to examine the hand to see if there were any glass particles that may have caused the cut?
No, sir.
Was this photograph taken before or after Mr. Simpson gave a statement to you?
After.
And during the statement, Mr. Simpson told you that he...
Objection. Beyond the scope. And hearsay?
Sustained.
On what grounds?
Well, it appears that it was actually both.
Well, hearsay is admissible.
May we be heard, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we can be heard, can't we? Just with regard to the legality of whether that's hearsay or not.
It's also beyond the scope. If counsel would like to take this witness on direct at the conclusion of cross-examination, I have no objection. But with respect to the hearsay, I'd like to be heard. That's fine.
All right. We will discuss that at sidebar. We're going to break with regard to the general proceedings, and I'll see counsel in chambers with regard to this objection. And we'll be in recess until 1:30.
Thank you.
I took a bite out of my cookie right when she said it's over. Guys, thank you so much for coming out today. Fozzie, it won't be $50 that I give to the animal shelter because YouTube doesn't give me $50. They give me like, I don't know. But whatever it gives me, I will give to the animal shelter for you. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm waiting. Calm down. Can I take another bite of my cookie? Remember, this isn't a stream. This is an OJ trial, so we can't talk too long. No, this is every day. Terry, I hope you have the best Christmas ever, ever, ever. Oh, guys, what favorite tropical fruit goes good on pizza? Guys, come on, don't do me dirty. I'm not allowed to answer. Don't do me dirty. There's 25 people in chat. All 25 of you should say the same thing. Please, please, please. Guys, come on. Guys, come on. Guys, I'm begging you. Mangoes. What the hell? Okay. Jay, you need therapy. Come on. Guys. Listen, Brecken. No. What is wrong with you people? Go seek Jesus. What is wrong with you? Guava. Guys. I am begging you. Please. Why are you doing this to me? Why? I'm not going to say a word, Fozzie. Don't worry. Not going to say a word, Fozzie. Don't worry. Not going to say a word. Avocado, kiwi, hibiscus flower. Guys. 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 Look, I'm not mad. Peaches! Shut up, Jay. I'm not mad. I'm just really, really, really disappointed in everybody. Apples and grapes and pears. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's freaking pineapple, guys. Fozzie, I'm sorry. No. I can't be silent no longer. It's pineapple! Why? Why is that so hard? You shut up, John. Fozzie, shut up, you. You are never getting timed out, Tina. Never. I'll fight anybody. It's pineapple. Y'all are wrong. It's pineapple. That's it. I'm done. I've had enough. My dog wants me. And I love my dog more than anything else, so I have to go. You seen. Look, you all seen me. The dog was really, really, really. No one's gonna type pineapple because everybody hates me. Steven, you said pineapple? Freaking where did you see? Steven, I call cap on that because I did not see pineapple. I would have been thrilled. Look, I just scrolled up. You didn't say that. Come on. Above tomatoes. Do you know how many times tomatoes were chosen? Hold on, guys. Pineapple, pineapple, pineapple. Because if Steven came in early with the right answer, Steven, I don't see it. Ah, I hate this stupid software. It doesn't show me everything. Wiggles, he's dead. Divorce. I love divorce, by the way. Wait, 33. Steven, this SteamYard software does not show me every single comment. So it didn't show me yours. Or I would have been all over that. It's pineapple, guys. It's pineapple. Amy, hello. Hi, Amy. I'm so glad you're here. No, it's not. Tina, I just loved you, and now you just did this? No, no. No, I'm from the 80s. Shut up, is what we say. No, we don't say hush. That's when you're about to kill someone. Guys, thank you so much for coming out to OJ. I will see you next time. have a Merry Christmas. I'll see you in the morning. Bye, guys.
Got these life echoes, digital dreams. Through the screen, her blue eyes gleam. Wicked humor, sharp as a knife. Her stream sparks electric light. Late night when the world sleeps, she's the friend that always keeps. Giggles roll like thunder loud. She stands out in any crowd. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Freedom tales waiting to the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle she lights the way. Her eyes hear a sky so blue. In her jokes there's a truth so true. Wicked streams she brings the light. Turns dark days into bright. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Screaming tales waiting to the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle she lights the way. Kathy's laugh